there is an inherent sense that something vital or confidential is being shared. Moreover, it can make one seem more approachable and trustworthy. While Mr. Hunter used a low volume to achieve his goals, there are many lessons to be learned from its opposite use, such as the experience I learned from a colleague of mine, Mike, who learned the hard way how the use of volume can be crushing to employees. While participating in a crucial audit, Kyle, his subordinate, interrupted him repeatedly, seeking guidance. Mike recalled, "He kept calling. I would tell him what I was doing. I told him what he could do to resolve the matter or wait until I was done and we could figure it out later. 20 or 30 minutes went by and he called again. This happened a couple more times before I made a mistake. I yelled at him. I said, 'You're a full-grown man. You have years worth of experience. Make a decision and move on. I am not here to babysit you.' Then I hung up. When I was done with the auditors, I went to see him. He almost quit. He was so mad and embarrassed that he was packing his bags and preparing to leave. I spoke to him and apologized, and I learned a valuable lesson. You can't yell at people. The impact of your volume will draw people to you just as easily as it will push them away. Navigating off-topic discussions during meetings. Change-out meetings should ideally be the place to go for alignment, a time for everyone to align their objectives and share critical updates. Yet, more often than anticipated, these gatherings can become sidetracked by personal anecdotes and tales from the weekend, leaving attendees feeling frustrated and uninformed. The culprits? Off-topic discussions that drown out the meeting's primary agenda. So how do we keep the meeting focused? One of my coworkers has a strategy. He comes in early to tackle work-related topics before conversations can veer off course. Another strategy is the kindergarten teacher approach. If someone starts to drift off topic, I shoot them a smile and say, "Hang on a sec, I need to catch this." It may or may not be professional, but I ignore people who try to talk about anything other than work at Changeout. I am looking for pertinent and concise information. You may find that casually steering the conversation back to work may work. On occasion, you'll need to parachute in with relevant news, passing the ball by asking questions to certain people and playing keep away from the person who is monopolizing everyone's time. For example, if someone starts going on about how they did things at their old job, you can chime in with, "That's interesting. I wonder if that could work here," and then quickly turn to someone else. "Hey, John, you look like you had a busy day. What were you up to?" It is all about redirecting the focus back to the changeout, keeping it relevant and to the point. The lesson here? Control your meetings before they control you. Keep it focused, keep it relevant, and do not be afraid to bring it back on track, even if it gets a little awkward. It is better than missing out on important info and watching your team scatter before you have even wrapped up. You might be wondering how to strike a balance between keeping a conversation focused and listening to a teammate's input. In the next section, we'll explore the significance of active listening. Don't interrupt. The importance of active listening in conversations. When your work speaks for itself, don't interrupt. Henry J. Kaiser. Envision yourself as an emerging artist with your piece exhibited at a gallery event. You notice someone absorbed in your work, their face a mix of enjoyment and puzzlement. Do you step forward, unfolding the story behind your creation? Or perhaps you casually approach them, initiate a dialogue about the artwork, and listen attentively to their viewpoints. Inquire about their interpretations and allow them to express them, resisting the urge to influence their thoughts with your in-depth knowledge of the subject. You may notice peers subtly injecting their biases during interactions, potentially limiting the emergence of unique insights and overshadowing the originality of another's ideas. Instead, try to employ open-ended questions, fostering a space for diverse and original thoughts. For example, asking, "We don't need to put the bypasses in when the X-ray crew is working in the mud bay, do we?" is likely to elicit a quick and easy "no" response, as you have already done the heavy lifting with your logical statement. Instead, ask a more beneficial open-ended question like, "X-ray is working in the mud bay. Is there anything I should consider?" This allows the others to provide their own original thought. Finishing others' sentences can also disrupt the flow of ideas. I am a recovering sentence finisher. I am learning to pause and allow others to think and speak, only offering input when it's appropriate or requested. It is a hard habit to kick when you think you have so much to add. We enjoy talking with people. However, sometimes we merely wait for others to take a breath so we can start talking again. True listening goes beyond merely waiting for your turn to speak. It requires giving undivided attention and aiding the speaker in clarifying their thoughts. But what happens when it is unavoidable to interrupt someone? How should you manage your interactions with them? Saying, "Excuse me," shows that you are present with what the person is telling you, so much so that you need clarification on what they are saying or you want to bolster their position. In this case, interrupting someone would be not rude, but a sign of engagement. If you are genuinely interested in what the person is saying, you must ensure you understand them correctly. Making an interjection gives you a chance to do that. It also shows that you respect the person's time and are not trying to take over the conversation. Don't be afraid to interrupt if you have a question or comment you think is essential. Next time you interrupt in a conversation, make sure it is a sign of engagement and respect, and that it will help lead to a more interesting conversation. Dead serious. Communicating intentions and emotions clearly. Communication is inherently linked with our emotions. That is why we often hide our true intentions behind unclear words, to avoid the truth and spare feelings. We are not always straightforward, aiming to prevent conflict, but this avoidance hinders our progress in enhancing communication skills. Feedback is necessary for collective growth. Humans are skilled at interpreting nonverbal signals and underlying meanings. We gain insight from people's facial expressions. However, it is unfair to expect others to decipher our intentions constantly. On top of that, some exhibit muted emotional responses or expressions. Their enthusiasm might match ours, but their facial cues might differ. Many find it challenging to convey their emotions in ways people typically expect. Working with an individual with Asperger's was enlightening for me. He exhibited many admirable qualities. He was polite, avoided confrontations, steered clear of drama, consistently did his job, was always willing to help when asked, had impeccable memory, and was an active team member. However, when asked if he needed assistance or wanted something, he would merely stare in response or shake his head no and avoid eye contact. On certain occasions, he wouldn't explain how to fix something, even if one showed genuine interest. To truly understand his emotions and responses required a more direct engagement. You would have to get his attention, look him directly in the eyes, and explicitly say, "Look at me. Show me what you're doing so I can help you." Being genuine in our discussions is crucial. Hiding intentions and emotions undermines communications and feeds misunderstandings. Say what? Understanding and managing expectations. A while back, I needed a logo for a personal project I was working on. I found a website that offered quick logo designs and filled out their form, providing a general idea of the logo I wanted. I must admit I wasn't